Happy Sunday, everyone. How are you today? I've been away for a minute, for a week, and of course, you know what's going on. I've got a lot still going on in my head, but it's going to be okay. To start off, I want to thank everybody again for being a part of the Imperfect Perfections channel. Thank you for being subscribers, and thank you for everything that you've done for me. Thank you for being there. Thank you for all the positive comments, because y'all are keeping me going. Sometimes there's times whenever I don't feel like I want to keep going, but because I read the comments and because so many people do care, it's what gets me up in the morning. Another positive development, since I talked to you last, I think in the last video we talked about me wanting to go back to work for GL Reentry Services, and how I put it in my resume, because they finally came back into North Carolina. Well, I contacted Human Resources after I put in my resume, and according to Human Resources, they're very, very excited that I'm wanting to come back to the company. Told me to keep in touch with them within the next 90 days. They'd keep in touch with me. The program is going to be open probably, she said, within 90 to 120 days is whenever they're going to open the program up in Lexington, North Carolina. I thank God, and because I try to do the right thing all the time, and I think doing the right thing always sets you up for positive promotion, for people to view you in a positive manner. No matter what it is, I think that I try to do the right thing all the time. I try to keep my name clean, trying to keep so that, because you never know how you can do something today and it can greatly affect tomorrow. And people, especially young people, don't realize that the things that they're doing in today's society, or in their life today, they think that, okay, it's just for right now. But a lot of times what happens is you could do something, it could be put on your record, or your name could be stained in some way, and that'll carry on for the rest of your life, or for a good portion of your life. People will never let you forget something. So I think doing the right thing all the time always sets you in that positive light. Thinking about your actions now, thinking about the way you're doing things now, and how it's going to impact next week or next year. You don't know. You don't know how it can come back on you, and you don't know when it's going to come back on you. So my point is that I try to do the right thing all the time, because I don't know when like say this job. If I'd had a terrible rap record, there's no way I'd have possibly been able to get the kind of jobs that I get. And thinking about my future jobs, I think today, and doing the right things now in order to secure good jobs in the future, which I think is very imperative for anybody to think about. Is to think about where am I going in my life? Where do I hope to end up at? Because what I'm doing today is going to impact tomorrow, and it's going to impact my future. A lot of people don't see that part, but I've always kind of saw that and said, okay, well, in order to get to this end, then I have to take this path, and along that path, there's things that can come up that can tempt you or whatnot, and make you feel like, okay, so I want to go do this, but then it can impact my future destination. But then in talking about that, again, like I said, then they told me to reach out to them. They're going to start doing interviews in October, and I'm believing I'm going to go back to this company. They're excited about having me back. I'm excited about going back. I've spent 2.5 years since I left the company. I was in South Bay, Florida, working at the prison, working with inmates and stuff, and trying to help change their behavior so that they can have a positive outcome when they come out. And so I worked at the prison down there, and I ended up leaving South Bay, Florida, the correctional facility, because of the fact that the cost of living in Florida was so high. And when I left North Carolina, I was making like $46,000 a year, and when I went to Florida, I got cut like $10,000, and I was making $35,500 a year. So then the cost of living was not conducive to what I was making. Ended up living in a hotel for like a month and a half before I realized I couldn't afford it, because I had a car payment, car insurance, and all that. And so saving up money to actually move into a place there was like, it just seemed like it was counterproductive. So I ended up back in North Carolina, and I ended up leaving the company. Well, now for 2.5 years, I prayed that they would come back to North Carolina, and I would have that opportunity to go back into geriatric services. Faith and believing, and kept praying and saying it will happen. It did happen, and so here I stand now, 2 years later, with the door open and ready to go back in. It's very positive, and I love it, and it gives me courage, just like y'all give me courage, because you continue to be part of everything that's going on with me, and I try to be a part of everything that's going on with you. And I thank each and every one of y'all for all your positive comments that you've given me, all your feedback, and just being there. I love every one of y'all. I do. But talking about doing the right thing, I had a situation where when I worked at this clinic, there was a counselor there who asked me for a sample of my urine when we had to do a random drug screen, because he said he couldn't pass the drug screen. Well, he was best friends with the boss there, so she let him slide with a whole lot of the, he couldn't give a urine when everybody else was supposed to give one. He ended up giving the urine the next day. Well, he asked me for a sample of my drug screen, a sample of my urine, because he couldn't pass the drug screen. Well, in my head, I couldn't rest with him asking me that. I told him, no, I'm not going to give you a sample of my drug screen. If you can't pass one, you're counseling 50 people with a substance abuse issue. They come to you for help, and you can't even help them because you can't help yourself at this point. And that's exactly what I told him. I didn't appreciate him asking me that. I didn't appreciate the fact that he was actually working there and trying to help these people. Well, he wasn't helping them. He was there. I didn't know what he was doing. I don't know if he could have been selling drugs to the clients or taking drugs from the clients, using with the clients. I don't know. Doing the right thing in my head, after he asked me that night, I cried and I prayed. I couldn't sleep because I'm like, okay, something needs to be done. I mean, these people are coming there because they need help, and there's 50 people that's being impacted by his counseling. But how is he counseling them if he's using drugs himself? He needed help, and so that night I laid and I cried and I thought, and I kept talking to Jesus and asking him, God, what do I do? I kept thinking about these people, because this issue was bigger than me. It was bigger than him. It was about the clients. It wasn't even about him. It was about these people needed help, and somehow I needed to make sure that they got the help that they needed, and somehow he needed to not be there. So because they needed a counselor who can believe in them, who would steer them in the right path. So doing the right thing for me was finally that night I cried and I talked to God, and it came to me that I just need to report him to the CEO of the company, and I did. The guy gets fired the next day after he was supposed to give a urine. He comes in and he gives me, he asked me for a bathroom key so he can go use the bathroom, but he shows me the cup where he's going to go and use the bathroom. Well, he escaped the whole point of a random drug screen because he knew when he was going to be doing it, which was the next day. Which all of this was the boss's, was with the boss's assistant, that he was able to do this. Well, I reported him to the CEO. He gets fired that Friday, comes into my office, and he tells me that I need to watch my back because he has a family. He knows that I'm the one who reported him. He said, I need you to watch your back because he said, I got a family to take care of, and now I don't have a job because of you. Of course, that created anxiety in me. I was kind of developed a little bit of PTSD because every time I went to sleep at night, I thought I heard him outside my house and whatnot. But still, I stood by my decision. I made the right decision. I was told by other people, oh, you're a snitch, and oh my God, you're a tattletale, but I don't care. There was people that needed help, and he could not do it. He couldn't give them that help. 2 months later, the boss comes to me, and after I'd worked there for 4 years, the boss comes to me and she tells me, she says, we no longer need your services. And I'm asking her, okay, so what happened? And what did I do? I mean, she says, well, the explanation will be in your last check stub, but we no longer need your services. And with that, I was out. So then I lost the job trying to do the right thing. Felt like I had been punished at that moment because I was trying to do the right thing. But that was just the feeling that I had at that moment. I was being punished. But 5 days later, I would be hired at GL Reinsurance Services, and my full potential would then be realized, and I would be able to get out and be free and actually excel in what I do. So there was a blessing in doing the right thing. Was I was blessed with something better than what I had. So I want to ask your opinion on what you would have done. Would you do the right thing? Because again, to me, it's not even about me. When I'm doing group, when I'm helping people, it's not about me. It's about them. It's about they came to this place because they're looking for a gateway to get out of what they're going through. They're to help to combat their negative things that's going on in their life and stuff. They're looking for somebody who has the answers. God knows I don't have all the answers, but I have me, and I have the education, but I also have life experience because I am the adult child of an alcoholic. My father, he was a minister growing up. He was in the pulpit. Him and my mother both. I was raised in a very strictly religious household, and my father, after 21 years of marriage, my father, both of them came out of the pulpit, and my father became a heavy drinker. He had gotten so to the point that with his drinking that he would drink rubbing alcohol and just to be able to have some alcohol. But knowing that the reason why he did that was to escape a lot of his problems, he felt like if he stayed drunk, he wouldn't have to think about it. So watch this man my father weighed 300 and something pounds, and he was pure muscle because he used to work and lift stuff all the time, so he was pure muscle. The day he died, my father weighed 90 pounds because the alcohol had stripped him. I saw him lose. My father owned his own land, his own property, his own house and everything, and I saw him lose it all behind alcohol. So I went through that. I watched the domestic violence that happened in substance abuse and alcohol. I watched the domestic violence. I watched my mother go through excruciating pain because my father would beat her. Sometimes I'd wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning because I was still young then and I was still at home, and I would watch my mother come in at 2 o'clock in the morning. Her face is swollen and bloody where my father had beat her and drug her across a road or something. I watched all that. I went through this alcoholic thing with them. So I have the life experience to go along with my education, and with the compassion and the passion that I have to do what I do. To help somebody else to not go through that or to change that so that they don't go through what I went through is the greatest thing for me. I want to do that. I want to help people. So instead of becoming, a lot of times they say that when someone grows up in a family with alcohol and substance abuse, they end up becoming that themselves because that's their environment. And that's not always true. Instead of becoming an alcoholic, I turned all those experiences around to say that I didn't want nobody else to go through what I went through, so I helped other people based on a lot of experiences that I've gone through. With that being said, I want to say thank you to everybody for staying tuned in with the channel, for being a part of everything that's going on with Imperfect Perfection. Update still, I got $784 in the GoFundMe. It will happen. It will get there. I just want to thank everybody again for being a part of everything. You know, I try to keep this at around 15 minutes long, and we're going on 15 minutes now. We got a minute left. Just wanted to kind of pop in a little bit and say hello and give you the positive update about going back to GL Reinsurance Services. Just got to suffer out another month and a half where I'm at right now. Get through that month and a half, and then I'll be back where I was. Again, thank all of you for who you are to me, and hopefully I am something to you. I mean something, or the videos mean something. But I thank every one of you for being a part of this. I thank every one of you for just being who you are and being powerful people in my life. I will be back again. I'll try to get back again another video this week by Wednesday, Thursday. If not, it'll at least be Saturday. But keep me in prayer as I'll keep you in prayer. Keep me in your minds and your hearts as I keep you in my mind and heart. And I will talk to you all later. Thank you.